All right, so I'm playing in the SCG 5K tournament today. It is a play until you have 3 losses tournament. That's 9 rounds of Swiss plus a cut to top 12, which is neat. So the top 4 people at the end of the tournament get buys in the single elimination round. So I really like the structure of this tournament overall. It's nice to not have to worry about tiebreakers for when you're done playing or not. While there are some X2s that'll miss the top 12 cut at the end of the day, they do give prizes to all of the X2s, which is a nice thing. So you can know you just play till a certain record and you're guaranteed to get something. The deck I've decided to play today is the Cycling Aggro deck. This is the deck that we did our last burst into Mythic with. I just decided for a longer tournament, I wanted to play something that was more proactive as opposed to the control decks that I've been dorking around with a bunch. This deck felt really good between the consistent early amounts of aggression that Rescuer and Flourishing Fox could put into play, and then the kind of late game just like jump up and kill you power that Zenith Flare provided. The deck's incredibly consistent because it has a bunch of cards that basically you pay 1 to draw a card with, so that feels nice. We didn't play with Improbable Alliance on stream at all, but I was looking at results from other SCG qualifier events, and a lot of the successful lists had been playing this as a splash, so I've decided to go ahead and do that. Another piece of technology other people are doing that seemed really good was playing copies of Shatter the Sky for the creature matchups, and while our deck has a number of creatures itself, Shatter's pretty reasonable out of the board because we can just clear the board and then we recover with the Zenith Flare, right? Like our aggro deck doesn't need creatures in play to win. You can just kill them with Zenith Flare at the end of it all after you clean the board up, which is sweet. Red Aggro's also been really popular, so I've got a bunch of Redcap Melees in the sideboard, and then we've got Disputes, Negates, and Roiling Vortexes for the Ultimatum matchups. So let's see if pairings are up here or not. It is 9 a.m. now. It's like we have 355 people for this tournament. It's a lot of them. All right, we got our first round opponent here, and it looks like we are playing against, is it Mono-White? Yeah, it looks like Mono-White. No splash color, Maul of the Skyclaves, and 2 Halvar, God of Battle, it would appear. So aggro mirror to start. Definitely a matchup where we'll be happy to have my copies of, Shatter the Sky out of the board, I think. They seem to have 3 Selfless Savior in their main deck, it looks like. Lost the die roll. Medium start. Seems fine. No Fox on 1, but has Alliance and lands to cast it. Or we could play Fox on 1. Huh? I think I'm just taking the slow start here. Getting Improbable Alliance going against this is really, really good. I guess playing this out into their copies of Apparition isn't stellar. Maybe I'm supposed to lead on Valiant Rescuer. Yeah, this might be wrong. This is a little bit harder to kill overall. It's a rough start for us considering we're missing the land drop here too now. Okay, we hit the land. I think that means we're just playing out a Flourishing Fox here. And then next turn we can go Rescuer into cycle, hopefully hit a land, and then cycle another one on their turn, get some tokens going. We're going to take a little bit of a hit this turn. I think that's fine. No Maul yet is very good for us. What if we'll see another Skyclave happen here? They do have 3 copies of Giant Killer in their main deck as an avenue of interaction. Oh, they have 2 copies of Takedown as well. They played one of those on 1, right? Yeah, they did. So I'm gonna do this now, hoping to draw an untapped land here. I'm gonna miss, unfortunately. Yeah, and there's the Maul. That's gonna kill us right quick. And this is why the Maul's the reason why perhaps I should have played the Rescuer on 2 as opposed to the Improbable Alliance, because the flying token would have allowed us to stall against that in a really meaningful way. I'm going to cycle this, trying to find another land. The Frostveil Ambush could potentially be a card that we cast this game to allow us to buy tempo. I need to hit a land this turn so we can potentially cast this to not die to this in 2 turns. So, dead to another Maul. This guy claves here, obviously. Dead to a land Halvar, giving this double strike. Not quite dead to that one. I think we're just dead, though, long term, right? I am unable to cast Zenith Flare if we draw it. Yeah, we need it. We need another land here. So, pretty unfortunate game overall for us. I think I could have, not even think. I should have played the Valiant Rescuer. We got a little unlucky, but I also made a mistake. If I should have played the Valiant Rescuer on 2. And if I would have played the Valiant Rescuer on 2 and that would have gotten taken, I would have been able to stick the Alliance, and then all those tokens we would have been making would have been able to block their thing there and chump block us out of that. If we would have been able to chump block our way out of that turn, we would have definitely been in a position to, to win long term with the Zenith Flare. All right, so post-board, they're bringing in 4 copies of Glass Casket, almost assuredly. Might be the only thing. They've got a couple of Heliod's interventions in their board I could see them bringing in. Killing Alliance or getting life in a pinch seems good. So yeah, my turn 2 play definitely decided that game. We would have maybe been able to wiggle out of my mistake if I drew the 4th land with all of our draws, but I wouldn't have needed to wiggle if I'd have sequenced correctly. Waiting for the opponent to sideboard here. Yeah, no white source here means unfortunately I have to mulligan this. Yeah, this is good. I bottom the Shatter on the play here. Could go either way on that one. We're playing this on blue, so that way we can theoretically cast, okay, so that means that's fine. So they'll get an attack in here. Yep, that's expected. So another reason our shredded sails are great though here. I brought these in for the mauls, but getting to tag these is definitely upside. Doesn't really matter, right? Oh, ha! This technically kills that too, doesn't it? That's funny. Cycling the extra one of these. I don't know if I'm playing the Drannith Healer or not, though. I feel like the answer is no. Just go ahead and push a bunch of damage here. We can play land and then cycle Startling Develop. Cycling the Drannith Healer means I can play it from the bin with Lurrus later, which is nice. I boarded out my 4 discard spells against the aggro deck, so I don't need to play this on the black side. We're playing 4 black pathways, just as like kind of free rolls instead of basics. To occasionally cast the discard spell. Alright, so there goes the Fox, I assume. I guess they could get rid of the Rescuer, depending on what their hand looks like. I think the Startling Development is actually worth more than the Go for Blood here. Because it's like kind of a removal spell anyways. It's instant speed and it can push damage in a pinch. I guess I haven't hit a land yet for the turn. I'm just gonna keep cycling here. I'd really like to hit a land. And working our way up to filling our graveyard up so we can eventually draw Zenith Flare. That's huge is nice. Okay, so we hit the land, so we can go ahead and play this out. And we can go ahead and pass back now. Got 8 cards in my bin at this point, all of which cycle. So in that 2 flare lethal range. It's also worth noting that my Zenith Flares are going to cost me 6 because of Redain. Maybe that's a reason to kill her, actually. I didn't think about the fact that she makes our flares cost more. Alright, and this is a reason to hold the Startling Development here in case I don't draw another Cycler next turn. And again, like, this is why I like this deck against aggressive decks. We get to sit here and gum the board up while building up to inevitability because there are copies of Zenith Flare in our deck. It's like, you know, there's 10 cycling cards in my graveyard, and eventually we just get to do that. So this might make them equip the Maul to something else. No, they're not. Okay. And I think at this point, I'm going to go ahead and just shred the sails here. And then take 2 on this. Because we can go ahead and just save up some 1/1s and eventually block this inside of combat, right? Like, we draw a new Cycler next turn. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and play the second Improbable Alliance, then we'll cycle this Flourishing Fox. The Fox says I make 3 1/1s. No attacks yet. Source and opponent controls to deal damage to you, prevent 1 of that damage. Yep. Source and opponent controls the damage to permanent. A source and opponent controls will deal damage to you or a permanent you control. Okay, so I actually can't kill their 2/3 in combat now. That's good to know. I'm gonna go ahead and jump block here. Get another 1 mana cycler here. We trigger the Improbable Alliances, which is nice. Yeah, really showing how I needed the alliances last game. This does cost me 6 at the moment. It's not too big of a deal. We've got Drannith Healers in here we can bring back with the Lurrus. We actually have not drawn many lands this game. We're 25 cards into my deck without having drawn any, only having drawn 5 lands. Okay, well, if we find the 6th land, these are lethal, right? Alright. And if we're not drawing lands, we're drawing cards that cycle at this point. Although maybe I'm supposed to cycle that one just to try and hit, try and generate a thing. That's probably silly. Just take the guaranteed kill them in 3 turns. All the Skyclaves, sure. Doesn't trample, not Undercleave. Sure. We can technically slide this around. And they know they're on borrowed time, right? Because, like, they know we got a bunch of Zenith Flares in our deck that are going to be lethal. This will deal 12. This will deal... Oh no! Oh, no! Fuck! I forgot about the extra line. I watched Crokies do this on the other stream, the other day. Fuck me. Well, shit. I'm sure Twitch chat's screaming while I'm getting ready to do that. That's fine. That's fine. There's no justice in the world, chat. We'll be okay. Whoop. Let's not tilt off. We'll be okay. Everything's gonna be alright. Do 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 do. Well, I mean, that's kind of funny. If I block both of these here, they technically die, right? Try to understand this. So I can target a favorite kind of spell. Let's pick one. Alright, so this is lethal. Prevents one of it. Understanding is correct. Alright, look at that. We did it. We made a huge mistake. Alright. We're shaking the rust off. It's early. There's been some slops. I think I want this extra Shatter when I'm on the draw. Shatter would have definitely bought me time to go long there. Boon of the Wish Giver is really bad. Actually, you know what? Honestly, with their Redeens, how many Redeens were they on? We got 3 Redeens. The 3 Redeens, I think I actually want to cut these and I'd rather have a couple of memory leaks. I'm probably not casting either. But, like, the potential upside this has versus the potential upside this has is higher. So realistically, we're not casting either, but this is slightly better. This would be the tough game. We're on the drop. Let's try not to mess it up, huh? Gotta mulligan that. Second land. Yeah, we're gonna keep this one. We're gonna bottom this. White, red, blue. So with this draw, we might be cycling this depending on what else we draw. Yikes. Not attacking here, obviously. We can only represent giving it +2 attack, so can't attack through the 3/1. Gonna have their, what's it called on 3 for the 3rd game in a row? Skyclave Apparition. Skyclave's probably their best card in this matchup, honestly. Or kind of threat light overall. It's very possible. I only registered 3 Improbable Alliance. It's very possible in a matchup like this I really want 4. And that could be a mistake too during deck building. I didn't get a chance to test with the card. Really just want to hit a glut of 1 mana cyclers next turn, ideally. Best possible play on turn 3, 3 games in a row is pretty good. Hopefully we can draw some spells to play a real game here. Yeah, I guess. Just hope they don't have second apparition. They have... I think I'm playing this because I need a blue source in play. That could be wrong too, though. If they have Glass Casket, we can shred it. That's how Magic works sometimes. Easy trade here. This comes back with Lurrus. Unfortunately, the Fox is just gone. Rescuer. I think I actually just draw Lurrus here. I think I draw Lurrus here because it's most resource efficient. With the plan being to, like, Lurrus, replay Drannith next turn. This is still a 1-for-1 because it makes them discard a card from their hand. They did bring in Heliod's Intervention. Okay, I'm not going to cast my black spell this game like we talked about. Their hand's empty at this point. I think we just go Lurrus into cast our Stinger from the bin here. I get to do this. I get to cycle this. If we get an untapped land, we can shred it plus cycle development next turn. We're dead in 3 to the Redain right now. You see Faceless Haven fire up here. It's not too big of a deal. With the Lurrus to grind a little bit. We just need to find an answer to Redain here. We need an Improbable Alliance. Aggressive. Still want to try and close this up. Healer's a good draw. block like this. I was just hoping to draw 1 mana cyclers at this point. 1 mana cyclers and Zenith Flares, I suppose. Improbable Alliance also not bad. I got a lot of good draws. They're debating on what they want to save with the Life's Bounty. If they want to discard a card to their Seasoned Hallowed Blade here. There's been so many micro decisions in this game. It's been kind of incredible. Like genuinely good set of Magic. Made some slops at a couple of points, but it's been a lot of back and forth. Okay, saving the 3/1s expected. I don't even think shattering is right? Because if I shatter, I lose the Lurrus. I could attack with the Lurrus and then shatter, and then I'm not dead to the Faceless Haven because I gained 3, but oh, I guess if I shatter, no, I can't play the Drannith. I get a 2/2 back out of the Skyclave Apparition. I don't feel like I win that game from there on average though. I feel like I need to kill. I feel like I need to kill the Faceless Haven. Actually, you know what? I'm going to attack with this. If they want to trade here, I think that's good for me. Yeah, I don't think they actually want to take that trade, so that's great. So they obviously have some really good draws with things like Maul the Skyclaves. They have 3 more of those in their deck. We have 5 cyclers in the bin right now. You know, the extra 1/1 doesn't seem like it's that important here, and I think I actually want to hold this for after I play Drannith Healer next turn. I think the one life is more important. Okay, I think we're holding Valiant Rescuer 2 now. Okay. Two copies of Lantern in their sideboard. They might pull the trigger on this now. Yeah. Okay, so now we just need to draw cyclers next turn. Okay, so he's got to fade a Maul for one more turn here. And then we can start activating this alliance. When we drew this, if this would have been a cycler, the game would have ended on the spot. We've just been over. Now they have three draws in 45 cards to kill us here. I drew Heliod's Alliant Intervention. Good golly. Oh, I can replay it from the bin. Okay. What just a fucking incredibly unlucky set of draws. That's super frustrating. And I guess we're not dead. I'm not dead. Take a deep breath. We got a little bit unlucky. We're getting things back from these when we sweep the board here. So we're not dead to the Faceless Haven. I was thinking I was dead to the Faceless Haven, but oh no, wait, fuck! Oh no, wait, oh, they messed up. Oh gosh. All right, so I was a little annoyed. If they would have blocked with these Skyclaves, knowing that I have this card, we would have died. So my opponent just punted back. All right, okay, all right. I need to tighten up. This deck has so many flipping lines in it that I am just missing a lot of them in these games. It's kind of incredible. Wait, this is lethal, right? Good lord. I did not deserve to win this. I played so bad. I played this game so bad. All right, let's shake it off. So many slops. So many slops. All right. Man, hey, don't let it get to you, chat. I almost got the better of myself there. You just gotta take a deep breath and think through it. It's been a while. It's early. There's been some mistakes. Okay, so we're playing against Gruul Adventures this match. They've got 3 Questing Beast, 3 Goldspan Dragon, 3 Ember Cleave, 2 Great Henge. Notables include 2 copies of Scorching Dragonfire in the main deck as additional interaction. My opponent's not checked in yet for their match, so it might be a second before they get here. They technically have 5 minutes to check in. And this round turned over pretty quick, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're a little late. Okay. Opponent is here. Assume we'll have a match pop up momentarily. They take a peek at our deck list. We win a die roll in the aggro mirror. O2 in die rolls. Good start. Good start. Can keep turn 1 Fox. Hand's a little land heavy, but need to avoid their 6 pieces of removal here. They have 4 Stomps and 2 Scorching Dragonfires. Never not getting stomped, huh? I wonder if they bring in Redcap Melee in this matchup. This might just be another aggro matchup where we only bring in Shatter. Didn't get stepped on. Good start. Good start. Definitely not playing this one in this matchup. Gopher Blood's a card we could realistically be casting. I'm not blocking Brushfire Elemental anyways, because they're almost assuredly making it bigger this turn, so I think we just crack with this. They could still have Scorching Dragonfire this turn. They can hit us for 6 down to 12. Scorching Dragonfire is pretty unfortunate. I'm making 1/1s or not. I think so. If Questing Beast here were likely dead, I don't know. We catch up from that. I suppose if they play Questing Beast here, I could theoretically hit a Zenith Flare that could kill it. Be like cycle and then trade the Rescuer off, and that puts four in our bin. I think I'm cycling a Drannith Healer this turn. As opposed to the Gopher Blood, I think it's pretty unlikely that I have time to deploy 2 Drannith Healers this game. Wow, the attack with the Innkeeper is something. I just not think I could cycle. So they like only have 1 more land and they want to save it for next turn is basically the case here. So I think I play Fox since we drew that. I go ahead and I cycle this. And then I go for blood. I'm going to attack with the Valiant Rescuer first, actually. If they want to trade here, that's good for us. They do not. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go for blood. The Brushfire Elemental here. Get that out of there before it can hit us again. We can jump block this one, and they can't cleave us this turn with only 1 attacker. Easy block here. Start with this, see what we hit. Okay, that's a Zenith Flare. So let's say next turn they go land and then cleave me. That's attacking for 12. I can still put enough blockers in front of that. So I think we just do this and then attack with these 2, right? Let's try and set up lethal here. Wow, this block is so ambitious. There's just like no fear in their dojo. They could use a little bit of fear is healthy sometimes, chat. I don't think they have any catch-up mechanic from here, right? On the empty board. I guess they could drop a Scavenging Ooze and eat a bunch of stuff out of my bin. They can eat 3 things out of my bin this turn with the Shrinking the Zenith Flare. Expand Dargan, you got it. Even if they play a land, they only have 4 mana after they make a treasure, so they can't cleave me with the dragon. And even if they could cleave with the dragon, it would only be 12, right? I'm at 13 because of the Drannith Healer. Okay. Sideboard. So 2 more Scorching Dragonfires come in. They do have 2 copies of Clothis, which I expect to come in here. They have copies of Wilt, which may or may not come in. Oh, they're not on 4 copies of Bone Crusher Giant in the main deck. I just assumed they're on 2 copies of Bone Crusher Giant in the main. That seems strange. I think on the draw, it's just like 3 Shatter in, 3 Boon of the Wishgiver out, I think is my plan. I don't think this is a Redcap matchup. I guess Shredded Sails is pretty good, huh? This kills Dragon and it kills Henge and Cleave. Yeah, that's almost assuredly worth bringing in. We'll trim a couple of memory leaks here. Less memory leaking while you play Magic Arena tends to be a good thing. Yeah, Fox on 1, Rescuer on 2. Not going to get a whole lot better than this, I don't think. We got Go for Blood and Zenith Flare too. Got all our colors of mana. Their deck's pretty aggressive, and we're on the draw, so like not unlosable by any means, but definitely an A+ hand tier on our end. If their hand is also A+, I assume they'll be incredibly favored being on the play. I think we Fox on 1, Rescuer on 2. Kind of expecting the Fox on 1 to die post-board. They have 8 ways to kill it on their turn 2. I assume they're up to all 4 Scorching Dragonfires and all 4 Bone Crusher Giants post-board. Honestly, with the Valiant Rescuer in hand 2, if they kill Fox on 2, it could even be right because they're on 8 pieces of removal to just like not play Rescuer and like play a tap land instead and like hold the Rescue until I can cycle and get a token with it for the turn. Although I guess if they stomp the Fox here, playing the Rescuer has value because then they have to choose between Giant or killing my thing the following turn. And that's awkward, right? We can't play this on 2 after we Fox on 1 because we have a Plains in play. All right, yeah, I think I'm gonna take things slow here. May or may not be correct. Let's find out. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and play Needleverge Pathway here on red. We'll play Improbable Alliance, we'll cycle Go for Blood, and then next turn, assuming we draw 1 mana cycler, which we did, we can go Rescuer Fox cycle, and like trigger. Could get Cleave next turn. Would I rather Drannith Healer or Valiant Rescuer? I don't really answer that question. The Valiant Rescuer is not blocking at this point in time, so maybe the Healer is actually just better. I don't think we're going to be in a position to beat a Cleave here on the draw. Which, you know, that's how Magic goes against these decks. On the zero outer, right? They've assembled Voltron. I needed one more turn. Or I needed the sweeper there. And I didn't have any 1-mana cyclers to try and get to it. I don't think I want Redcap Melee. I think I'm pretty happy with how we boarded. It's just like, you know, not be on the draw this game. Our first match had a lot of player agency in the games that I lost, and I made some mistakes. I don't think I made any mistakes that game. Wasn't really anything we could do. And sometimes you just get running over. It's rather look is good. Our deck has some good nut draws like that as well. Kind of cuts both ways. Had we been on the playback game, we would have been able to set up our Zenith Flare to kill that questing beast before it killed us that turn. So like I said when we looked at our opening hand, like our opening hand was really good, but it wasn't going to hold up against an A+ hand from them as well, and that's exactly how we saw it play out there. Questing beast is very good against us. We're not particularly good at blocking that card. I guess our foxes technically grew up big enough to block it at some point if they can survive the early turns. Opponent spent a lot of time in sideboarding there. I wonder if we're going to see them retool their deck a little bit. Maybe they had less removal in on the play. Would make sense. I guess. So I'm going to play this on red on one, because that way if we draw a... So I have a white source, but if we draw an Alliance on 2, I want to be able to play Alliance on 2 rather than Rescuer. And this doesn't prevent me from playing Rescuer on 2. Ideally, we want to draw a 1-mana cycler in our first couple of draws, so we can go Rescuer on 2, Rescuer on 3, cycle, make some tokens. See if they have one of their 8 pieces of removal here. Pretty likely to be the case, but I have the second Rescuer, so like we definitely want to play it out and make them have it. No blocks on your 1/1, go to 19. Oh yeah, good night, Valiant Rescuer. He's dead, Jim. You've killed him. And exiled it too, so it doesn't count for our Zenith Flare, unfortunately. No scavenging ooze in there, 75. Only graveyard hate we have to worry about is Clothis. No questing beastier is good for us. Or no, what's it called? No love struck beast. Interesting sequencing with the brush fire. Maybe a little bit of a misclick there. I think I want to trade here. Do I need double red ever? Double blue? The 5-mana blue card that's blue lets us tap 2 creatures. They don't untap during the next untap step, which is like actually pretty relevant in these games. I think I like playing this on our second white and then just drawing Lurrus this turn. We get punished if we draw exactly Improbable Alliance, because then we can't Alliance and Shredded Sails in the same turn. I think I'd like the upside of this, of being able to tap 2 things. I think we just shatter, right? I think we shatter, cycle Fox in a turn. Oh, I guess playing this on here means I can't Lurrus and play a white card in the same turn. That's actually super wrong. It's a pretty big mistake, actually. Need to draw an untapped white source here, because I messed up. They could have removal here, I suppose. So Zenith Flare's worth 3 at the moment. So if they pump the Phoenix trying to kill me, I can Shredded Sails kill it and go to 4. And then next turn, I can cycle 2 1-mana cards, pumping this to 3, which means this will be doing 6. I could draw land in the mix. Is that correct? And then, so I could hit 3 1-mana cyclers into a land and then potentially kill them. And now they're debating on if they can call my bluff or not. Okay, so we go to 4. Okay, so if this cycles into 2 more 1-mana cyclers, we kill them, right? With the land draw? Hit me, dealer. See, chat? Just gotta tighten it up. Just gotta tighten it up. Sculpt the game how you want it to play. Bing bonk goes laser. Okay, sweet. Clutch set. This deck, I like, and this is the reason why I decided to play this deck today. Like, it's an aggro deck, but like, there's so many lines within lines within lines. Like, when we played this on stream the other day, I was really impressed. Okay, we're playing against one of the 10 people that chose to bring Sacrifice, and they're on 4 Claim the Firstborn and 4 A Cronin War. If I had to guess, I would bet that this matchup is bad for us. They don't appear to have any graveyard hate, though, in their 75. Which bodes well for us, so like hopefully we can punk them out with some Zenith Flares. They have some Agonizing Remorse, I suppose. Yeah, we're gonna have a real hard time keeping foxes and stuff around here. 0-3 in die rolls, it would seem. They notably aren't playing the dragon though, so that's nice. I think I'm supposed to keep this. I think both Improbable Alliance and Zenith Flare in the opener are a big game. Honestly, with the Alliance and the Zenith Flare, we might just cycle everything. So I have equal red and equal blue sources in the deck, and because I have Drannith Stinger lined up already, I think we take red to start on here. Good beats. Step on me, daddy. 4 Bone Crusher Giant in the main deck here for the opponent. Zeckles, thank you for the sub gifts. That's incredibly generous of you. Am I playing creatures, or are we just on the Improbable Alliance game plan? I think I'm just going to go on the Alliance game plan here. Just like Alliance to stall into Zenith Flare skill you. This might be wrong. I get to cycle 2 things here that make 2 1/1s, which is nice. Yeah, that means my game plan's even better. Huh? Yeah, probably. Okay, so we're probably like full cycling next turn and then setting up to flare through them the following turns. Maybe Rankle means I'm supposed to hold some dorks back here. think I want to try and hit a land here. If I miss on the land here, I'm not going to cycle again, though, because I want to be able to double cycle on their turn for 2 more 1/1s. You only trigger once per turn when you draw the second card. And, like, we make a couple of 1/1s here, and then we start Zenith Flaring them out of the game. And at this point, I don't think I'm stack blocking to kill things. I'm pretty sure we're just chumping all the way down to make sure. Wow. Okay. Yeah. And like looking at their main deck here, I don't think they have any counterplay to what's about to happen to them. So they're dead on our next turn with these flares. Yeah, I should have 4 Alliance in my 75. I didn't get a chance to play games with it, so I only played 3 of the other lists were playing 4. I should definitely be playing 4 of this card. That's not close. My deck is at least 1 card wrong. Probably more than 1 card wrong, but Alliance should definitely. Oh no, not the Agroninor. Gonna like set the mood here and let them know what's up. Alright, so how that played out, I think I want to board in Shatter the Sky. And honestly, I don't know what else I want other than that. Like, they're going to bring in their discard spells, which are only okay against us. They got to get lucky to tag Zenith Flares. I don't think this is a Redcap matchup. Doesn't really kill most of their stuff. I don't really want to sacrifice lands to kill non-red cards. Roiling Vortex. God, is Roiling Vortex a card here? I guess if I'm on the back foot, it's pretty bad. And they don't have ways to gain life. I think I'm just bringing in 3 shatters and like cutting 3 of something. Honestly, I think it's the Valiant Rescuer just because they cycle for 2. I think is the plan. I think we want our games to play out like that one there, where we just cycle a bunch of stuff and then bonk them with Zenith Flares. I'm mulligan this with no second lands. This hand's fine. Not amazing, but fine. I have red, blue, white, and 3 cyclers. We'll want to lead on red or blues, that way we can Improbable Alliance on 2, ideally. This could be a game where we play Memory Leak. Could have been the Valiant Rescuer here. Least useful. There's an outside chance I play this. I think we just continue cycling here, even with the Improbable Alliance draw. I just want to fill my graveyard up and churn through as much of my deck as possible. Drawing Zenith Flare early like this is actually kind of bad for us, because I don't want them in my hand to be exposed to discard spells, ideally, until we're ready to cast them. And then we've got 3 1-mana cyclers rolled up here, so we'll be able to generate a token on our next turn, and then double cycle to generate a token on their turn again. Got me. It's kind of annoying. Do I want a Drannith Healer? I don't think so. I think it's important that I hit land drop here. If I hit untapped land here, I still get to make a token on their turn. Okay, that's like not the Stone Cold worst. Source we wanted. If we hit any untapped land here, we can blink them next turn, which is nice. We have a black source. They can't quite escape Croxy yet, so that's good. They can't cycle this with the rogues, so that's nice for us. So I have 1 card left here. I think we want to set up to Bink Bonk them over 2 turns, right? So I think we cycle this to start. And then if we draw a 1-mana cycler, we can double cycle on their turn again. This could be risky. I have like 2 flares in hand, so I don't feel like super under pressure to do it if they... In case they have like a discard spell, we'll still have a second one rolled up. I'll cycle this. If we get another cycler, we can get another token. It's unfortunate. So 1-mana cycler, still a good draw next turn. I think I ditch a land and then shatter them, right? What's the plan? If I draw a 1-mana cycler, I can make a token here still. And I'm not dead to a haste creature. So I'll get to scry twice and then draw a card off of this. And then we need to not die next turn. They could theoretically Stomp Wrinkle us here to kill us, but if they don't Stomp Wrinkle us, we're going to be in a very good spot. Even if they draw, they need to Stomp Wrinkle us or draw 2 discard spells here, is what it comes down to. You needed these 1 turn sooner. If they had hit these 1 turn sooner, I'd be +3 life right now, and I'd feel a lot better about my spot. They have 3 cards in here, so nowhere near enough to escape anything yet, just yet. Oh, they're only playing 2 Croxes in their deck. That's super interesting. This is great for us, obviously. Okay, let's just do this now. And now, even if they draw a discard spell for the second flare to not die, we get to go Alliance into cycle Drannith Healer and like make enough blockers to probably not be dead. And then in the long term, we get to grind with Lurrus Dream Den 2 here still. So like they got to beat the flare now, and then they also have to beat the Alliances and Lurruses in the long game. So like even if they have like Claim plus Wrinkle here, we're not dead, right? Because Wrinkle's 4 and Claim is 1 and Bone Crusher's 4, so it's only 9 altogether. We go to 7. The fact that Zenith Flare gains life too is so offensive. You're just like, and you're not racing me. Real clean victory there. No sideboard cards for them. Meant it was pretty clean live-in. You're playing against the Mono-Reds, chat. You have 1 Soul Guide Lantern in their sideboard. You love to see it. I wonder how this matchup goes. We've got some Redcap Melees. I don't know that this is a Shatter. I don't know if this is a sweeper matchup. It could be. Maybe on the draw it's a sweeper matchup. Could see that. Having some cleanup. We're 0-4 in die rolls now. It's working out so far, so maybe we shouldn't worry about it. What does the fox say, chat? Hand needs a red source, but we're not here to mulligan fox on 1, so. Perfect. So they have 4 Frostbite and 4 Bone Crusher Giants that can kill this. But wouldn't be surprised if it dies, but definitely spending my mana here on 1 to play it. Well, that's great for us. Okay, so there's a good chance that they have a Frostbite next turn to kill this anyways, even if I make it a 3/3. So I think I want to just deploy second Fox here and get them both charging up. Pushes a little bit less damage this turn, but it's much better in the event that they have a land Frostbite. They have Stomp here, I'm a little sad. Or if they have Frostbite without another land. Yeah, they have Frostbite without another land. It's a little sad. This is a great draw. I get to do this, and then I get to go ahead and cycle this. I guess I could be right to get this up to 4/4 so it doesn't die to another Frostbite. If they draw a land next turn. I don't know, getting the Improbable Alliance going to protect my life total from the Rimrock Knight has a lot of appeal. If they attack with just Fireblade Charger, I'm not going to block, because I don't want to trade my Fox for a deal 2 plus the Fireblade Charger's trigger. And they've been missing land drops here, so they don't even get to trigger the Robber of the Rich, which is great for us. I guess they plan to chump block with the Fireblade Charger. I think I'm just taking this chump here. I think I want to just protect my life total. I guess this pushes damage. Nah, I'm just going to protect my life total. This is great. And having another cycler here feels a little bit bad, but that's what it is. You're stumbling on land, so we take those. Okay. Definitely blocking Charger here. Yeah, so this attack seems loose. I think I'm taking 2 at this point. Them missing on a land again here means pressuring them in the air has a lot of appeal. I assume they're going to jump the Fox this turn. Just let them kill my fairy. Lurrus lets us replay Drannith from the bin next turn. Just gotta make sure I don't die to an Ember Cleave if they draw land. Our best draws a 1-mana cycler again next turn. See, it feels like we're frequently in that position. No blocks on the attack again here. Definitely want to push damage with Zenith Flare. Or with the flying tokens, sorry, is what I meant. Just gonna take this hit for 5 and then we bonk them with this and they die. Right. Sometimes they're easy and your opponent doesn't have lands. Okay, so opponent's got 3 Fire Prophecy post board. We could maybe see Roiling Vortex come in here to try and stop my life game. I wouldn't be super surprised if that happened. Shredded Sails is great again, because not only do they play Ember Cleave, but they play copies of Goldspan and Phoenix. Oh, Phoenix are in the board, but they'll probably leave Goldspan in against us. Boon of the Wish Giver comes out. Memory Leak comes out. Usually what I trim. It depends on, in the creature matchups, the upside of casting Ambush is higher. In the non-creature matchups, the upside of casting Wish Giver is higher. Do I want a couple of Shatters on the draw here? I can't decide. I guess they are a 28 creature deck. They have four creature lands, though. I feel like there's going to be a lot of instances where, like, there's going to be a lot of instances where, like, if we shatter, they just kill us with the Faceless Haven. I bring a couple in on the draw. Could be wrong, though. There's a real cost to every card we put into our deck that doesn't cycle. So there is a risk associated with that. If we're in a position where like sweeping the board isn't beneficial, there's a good chance that being able to cycle for one would be beneficial. Like, I'm already bringing in 3 Redcap Melee, so like I'm going to have 8 cards in my deck right now that aren't lands that don't cycle. Because we have the 3 Improbable Alliance in the main deck. I think this is fine. I think we have blue-red, opponent mulligan to 6. We have the Shatter. Alliance makes Shatter better if we can draw some white lands here. I'm gonna put a stop on their thing here to bluff. I don't even need a stop to bluff, right? Because I have this. You know. Took away one of our white sources. I think I'm holding on to this just in case I don't draw other cyclers here, which we did, but I think it was worth doing that. So we need to play Alliance here, and then next turn we get to go second Alliance, land cycle. Make some 1/1s. There should definitely be 4 of these in my deck. It's just been so good today. We're just going to 14 here. Or they could actually play. Looking for lands and 1-mana cyclers here. They can't cycle this card from this, but they can use it to fight something later. I guess I could technically Fox. I guess if I cycle the Fox here, I can make 2 tokens on their turn too, which sounds kind of appealing. I'd like to draw land here real bad. I think I need to draw the land with the Zenith Flare in hand, so I'm gonna go ahead and cycle this. This means if we brick on the untapped land, we don't get to make 2 tokens next turn though. So they're gonna get to cleave me this turn, but I'm going to take 8 at most, and then I have Shatter/Flare for the follow-up turn. If they don't have cleave here, we're in a very good spot. Please activate Faceless Haven. Deal. If these trades happen, that's incredible for us. If they have a burn spell, we still get to kill at least one of their things here, and like I've got plenty of things to make more stuff with next turn. Sure. They didn't have cleave this turn, so hopefully they don't have it next turn. I don't think we're sweeping at this point. I think I'm playing Valiant Rescuer and then cycling this. Oh, if I would have tapped differently, I could have potentially done this turn. That's interesting. To think about, perhaps. Mayhaps. So they know I can't trigger the Alliance this turn, but I can trigger Rescuer. Okay, and then they're out of cards, right? So we just shatter next turn. We cycle Startling Development to draw a card. Oh, Oh, Redcap's a good reason to play this out first, huh? Yeah, my tapping with my lands and forward thinking into what I could cycle into has not been stellar in these games that we've played so far. Definitely gaining 4 here. Oh, that unlocks these. Right. I forgot this was a rogue. Great, I thought we dealt with that and these weren't coming back, but yeah, they can totes play those now. That's cute. So anything that cycles is a good draw. It's another point where we're at again. Okay. So we go Alliance, cycle, probably draw Lurrus. Bonk. And then with these flares and the red caps, I think we should be good to go here. They can technically cleave us this turn, right? But I don't think we die to that. Right, I can play around that, right? Because this will be 10, but I can put 2 on here, 1 on here to play around cleave. So this means I don't die to cleave, because this will put me to 1. That block looks a little bit odd on the surface, but like literally the only way I lose this game is if they cleave me there. And if I don't take that block, they can cleave me for lethal there. Think I just play the Triome and pass. And Cian's Soul Guide Lantern happening next turn, they're dead. And even if they do have Soul Guide Lantern happen next turn, I like still have 3 Improbable Alliance. Today's felt like it's been a clinic on why I think this deck is well positioned. Like, just like showing off how difficult time our opponents have of interacting with us. Nuclear launch detected. I think there's a good chance this deck picks up in popularity. I think people are gonna have to start packing sideboard hate, like graveyard hate in the sideboard. Like, our deck gets a bit worse if people are like playing a bunch of Tormod scripts and lanterns, but like red-black's been down in popularity, which means people are playing less graveyard hate, which makes this a really good weekend plays. I think even if there's graveyard hate in the format, like if we're playing for Alliance, our deck is still very reasonable. Like, I don't think graveyard hate makes this deck unplayable, but it like gives people counterplay. Like, so many of the games we've played so far today, like our opponents just like haven't had a chance, right? Like, our hand just gets set up and it's just like we have the inevitability and they can't interact with us and they can't attack because we have so many blockers. All right, our first Ultimatum opponent today. I think this matchup's okay. We're pretty proactive. Depends on how much interaction they have. How much aggro respect does our opponent have? 4 Heartless Act. Only 2 Elspeth's Nightmares. They're playing more on the board. They have a 3rd Nightmare on the board. 1 Soul Shatter. 2 Extinction Event. Extinction Event's worth noting. 3 Shadow's Verdict. So 4 pieces spot removal and a lot of sweepers here. They notably do not have a lot of graveyard hate again, though, so hopefully we'll be able to bink-bonk them out of the game. They've got 2 Negates and a Disdainful Stroke in the main deck. Does not look like they're playing Jawari Disruption. Yeah, no Disruption in their deck. Great, we have lost 5 die rolls in a row. It's working out, though, so far. Pretty easy mulligan here with... Okay, yeah, and this is a good keep, I think. Then I think we just bottom the Zenith Flare. Is that true? I feel like I need to bottom that. I could be wrong though. It could be right honestly to bottom just one of the cyclers. Okay, with the second Fox, we're definitely playing this one. So they get a 1 turn. I was debating on whether or not I want to do this on 1 or play a land on 1 for this potentially, or do this. They have 4 copies of Heartless Act that have a 1 turn window here to kill this. So like worst case scenario for us here is like they Heartless Act this and then next turn they Elspeth's Nightmare this one. But if they can't kill either of these and we get some hits in, that'll be great for us. They could have Essence Scatter here for the second one. They do have 2 copies of that. I feel like if they had Heartless Act, they would have done it on their turn, right? I think I pushed the damage here. If they're a good player, they would have Heartless Acted us already. I think I get my damage assuming they're going to play well. And this land is great. It means I can go... red source this, cycle this next turn. Worth noting, too, that these tokens are even and these are odd. So if they have Extinction Event, which is one of their 2 sweepers, we can dodge that. They do have 3 copies of Shadow's Verdict, which exiles everything that costs 3 or less. Yeah, Cultivate on the play is real scary. If they have Shadow's Verdict on 4, that's probably going to be something that we have a hard time with. Especially because these will get exiled, which means they're not going to work with... they're not going to work with our nuclear launches, and I can't recast them with Lurrus. Yep, this is their best possible start here. Okay, it's a good draw for us. Okay, let's go ahead and play this out on white. And then if we hit another 1-mana cycler here, we can make another 1/1 token this turn. Two extra turn cards in their deck. 1 Vorn Clicks, 1 Bulky. So we could obviously hit for more damage if we cycle this turn, but I think I'd rather wait and get another Improbable Alliance token next turn. Okay, now we'll cycle if they want to try and eat my 4/4. Maybe that play means I'm supposed to just push damage here. 5 cyclers in the bin now at this point. Can I beat an ultimatum from here? Probably not. I guess ultimatum is triple. They can't ultimatum this turn, right? Because they can't get triple green and blue with 3 swamps in play. So at least 1 more turn away from that. No blocks. Yeah. So. Yikes. Well, shoot. They have a Heartless Act here. They could theoretically trade for my Flourishing Fox if I don't draw another cycling card. So it's going to be remove 3 counters, and then we're hoping that this can draw another cycling card to get us back up to 5/5. They could have another Heartless Act here, obviously, but can't play around that. Or a Soul Shatter, perhaps. And then they can Ultimatum us next turn. Need a green source to do so. They're digging for a Shatter, or they top 2. So I assume either this Fox is dead or they're casting Ultimatum next turn. Hopefully not both. Could just be a Shadow's Verdict here. Would be pretty annoying. They're looking at my graveyard too. They're either counting for Flare, or they're looking to see how many they're going to exile with Shadow's Verdict. Alright, there's the Ultimatum land. Just like the pretty stock Vorn Clicks Valky extra turn combo here. Oh, Kiora best the Sea God. Huh. I think I just give them these two and then hope to peel a Flare next turn to kill them. Valky would exile our graveyard, which makes my Zenith Flare's bad. So I think we just say no extra turn for you, take the other two. The first 2 chapters on the QR are going to trigger here, so myself's going to tap and then not untap. But they're on just a swap, so I've got, you know, 3 Zenith Flares. I bought him to Zenith Flare earlier, but I've got 3 Zenith Flares and 38 cards here, basically. 1 mana cyclers or redraws. So let's let them gain control of a permanent I control. So if I play Valiant Rescuer, we are still dead to a removal spell, but we're not dead on board. So I guess that's the play. I can also hold this and I could hold this and attempt to cycle into a thing on their turn to have a blocker. That's still dead to instant speed piece of removal, though, right? It doesn't die to Binding of the Old Gods, though. I'm supposed to draw that. I don't think it really matters. I think we're going to die here. Opponent is definitely a game where... I think this was the first game where, like, our game 1 was decided by the fact that we lost the die roll. We've lost 5 die rolls in a row, and this was the first game where it was just like, okay, we lost because we lost the die roll. If my opponent hadn't been on the play, we definitely would have closed this out. Their turn 4 sweeper wouldn't have been good enough with no other interaction before it. shake it off and move on to the next one here. We get to board in a bunch of counter spells and some Roiling Vortexes, Frostveil Ambush. I think Boon out. Maybe I leave Boon in and cut Drannith Healer. I don't really want this Grizzly Bear. Randomly drawing 4 is fine. Actually, go for Blood's probably bad, right? I think I'd rather have Grizzly Bear than a fight spell. Yeah, I think that's about where I'm at. My opponent out of their sideboard has a 4th Verdict, a 3rd Nightmare, and then maybe they bring in their 2nd Chariot. We had some draws there. If we'd been greedy to start that game and bottomed a land instead of the Zenith Flare, we would have won that game. But I'm pretty sure that with the information we had at the time, that I'm supposed to keep the land in the opener. So I don't really know that there was much player agency to be had in that game. Needed to win the die roll. Fine, we'll get them in the post-board games here. Both Roiling Vortex and our counter spells, like a key counter spell at any point in that game too, would have devastated them. The fact that we have Mystic Dispute to counter their 7-mana ultimatums is big game. Our deck that we're playing like puts enough pressure on them, generally speaking, that they like have to be jamming that card ASAP. They can't wait around for it. Is our counter magic better? Fine. Not amazing, but fine. I think I lead on the Clearwater Pathway on blue, so that way if I cycle into red source and then draw a Improbable Alliance or vice versa, I can stick that on turn 2. Probably ideal. We'll cycle development on 1. Okay, they have 4 copies of Heartless Act in their 80 card deck. Do you got one here? Never not, huh? It's always more tilting when they have their answer in their 80 card deck. It's because, you know, their deck is Greed Incarnate. I think we just stick this. Want to get a threat into play before we start holding up Negate. Probably cycling the Wishgiver here. Man, not being able to negate that feels real bad. Yeah, that could be the game. They had their 4 of, and like we could have beaten this card if they like didn't have the perfect removal spell on 2. Ooh, okay, all right. So you're saying there's a chance. This card is very, very good against our deck. We can get through it if we have appropriate amounts of interaction, or if we have appropriate amounts of other access to pressure on. But the fact that they had this paired with the Heartless Axe, a pretty rough nut. So they took my Zenith Flare, even though they're gonna exile my graveyard here. Maybe they weren't thinking about that aspect of it. Okay, all right. I mean, when you run good, I suppose. I really think they should have taken my Negate there. Hopefully that's going to be a mistake that punishes them. This card especially drawn like. We're going to put a lot of pressure on here. Definitely holding up Negate here. Sure. So they technically have some Behold the Multiverses, but that's likely. It's likely a copy of an extra turn spell. I think we're just passing here. They don't have enough mana to draw and deploy Yorion this turn, which is great for us. I wonder if they left in their like disputes and stuff here. Definitely not countering their draw. Waiting to counter something like Ultimatum or Sweeper Effect here. They could have left some of their negates in against us. Because like they do need to make sure they don't die to our copies of Zenith Flare, and Negate's a way to do that. I usually have counter magic in my deck post board against this archetype that we're playing. I would not be surprised if this opponent does. Smart, they play their second, or their first Shadow's Verdict of the game. One more negate we can cycle into with this. That being their play is really good for us. It's possible I should have done this on my turn. So that way when I draw another cycle here, I could have made another token on their turn. Yeah, I guess I missed a point of damage with my sequencing, huh? Interesting that they let us untap. Yeah, I'd have had a token here, and they'd have been at 5 right now. That could definitely be the difference between winning and losing here. But I'd have cycled this land on my turn. They need to both deal with our tokens and deal with the Roiling Vortex in play, though. And Emergent Ultimatum isn't an option here because Roiling Vortex kills them with its flavor text. Shadow's Verdict beats hurts copies of anything else that I draw here too, which is unfortunate. I think I gotta try and draw one mana cycler here at end of turn so we can make a 1/1. Yeah. Every point of damage matters, so the one token I missed ended up only costing me 1 point, so it's not too terrible at the end of the day. I think I'd rather cycle than play this. I think getting deeper into my deck has more value. Okay. Cast Yorion and tap off blue mana for me. Bink bonk. Man, are we gonna beat... Man, did we beat Nightmare? I think we beat turn 3 Nightmare, chat. That's sick. Wow, I'm really impressed with our deck there. The fact that, like, we were able to choke through what their curve was, like, is really surprising to me. Like, their curve that game was stellar. I guess we were on the play, which has some value to it. Definitely happy with how I boarded. Let's run it back. Our sideboard cards really coming in clutch and showing their worth there. Both the Negate forcing them to sequence in the way that they sequenced, and then the Roiling Vortex pressuring them and making them not be able to cast Ultimatum to combo us out felt great. A better player might mulligan this hand. I don't know. This hand is so good if it draws a land or two. I get 2 draws plus a cycle if we potentially brick. I don't know. We're only on 19 lands, so like I should probably run the Hyper Geo on what's the probability to hit here. It's gotta be low. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably just not supposed to gamble. Oh, they missed. Wow, that's incredible. Okay. Yeah. Deal. And we hit. Beep, beep. Off to the races. I don't know. Like I said, the upside of this hand is like really good if we hit. They have Heartless Act here. I wouldn't be surprised if they kept their hand with 2 lands based on Heartless Act. They also mulligan too, so. Okay. I want to try and hit my land drop here, though. I'm gonna sit on the Fox for now. Let's try and hit our land drops here before they do. Okay, well, better lucky than good. It's a tapped land. Sick. I think I want to hold up Negate here. I want to be able to counter a Cultivate or a Binding of the Gods next turn. Or Elspeth's Nightmare. And if they don't do any of those things, I'm going to cycle this Valiant Rescuer. Start working up towards this. And the Sea resolves. Bottoms up. We love to see it. Alright, and the land tier is good. Because the land lets me play this, cycle this. And still hold the gate. Yeah, like they're going to 13 here. We got this flare at 8. Our gamble paid off because we stumbled, but they also stumbled. I wouldn't fault anybody for mulliganing the hand that I kept. I would accept arguments that it's correct too. Well, I'll run the Hyper Geo and find out what our likelihood is to hit a second land on turn 2 there with 3 draws. I bet it's less than a coin flip. It's probably in the 30% range, which makes my gambit really not good. Okay, so we negate their Shadow's Verdict here. We attack them for 4. We bonk them with Zenith Flare. Alright. Hashtag sometimes lucky. Alright. There's 24 minutes till I start playing, which means there's 30 minutes plus 40, it's like 210. We're gonna come back at. Oh, what's the Hyper Geo? Let's do that. I don't want to keep the people waiting. What's the Hyper Geo? I should know this stat. So there's 53 cards in our deck. There's 18 lands left. We're going to cycle once, and we're on the draw, so we have 3 looks. We are wow. My intuition was way off. So keeping, I can share with the class. This is called a hypergeometric distribution calculator. If you haven't used one of these before. So with 53 cards in our deck, 18 of them being lands, and getting to look at 3 cards in the first 2 turns with cycling one of them, we actually have a 72% chance to hit a land. And assuming that our land is untapped and we had 2 1-mana cycles, we get to look at an extra one, we'd have an 82% chance. So yeah, actually, doing the math, I take back what I said, and I think our keep was fine. I think the power level of our hand was high enough that with being 3, I think if we hit the land on 2, we probably couldn't lose that game. And like, obviously we missed, but they also missed, so then we couldn't lose the game. And I think being basically asking myself, like, I'm 72% to win this game keeping this hand, I keep every time, right? Like, if you ask yourself that question, like, okay, if I'm 72% to win this game, if I keep this hand, do I keep the hand? The answer is definitely yes. So going back and looking at the math, my gut was wrong. I was inverted, so we were very likely to hit there, and I like my play. Looks like Green-Red Adventures with 2 Akronin War main, 4 Cleave. I like this build my opponent has a lot. Just like 4 Gold Span Dragon, 4 Cleave, 2 Akronin War. Just like no screwing around with silly stuff. Well, they've got 3 Negate and Island in their sideboard. That's cute. My opponent does not have any graveyard hate other than Klothys. This would be a really good match to win the die roll in. Opponent with the heck of the username here. I'm sure they're a quality, reasonable human being. Can we win a die roll? Okay, sweet. All right, yeah, it's a keepable 6. We'll bottom a Wishgiver here. Box on 1, let's do it. And if we roll this up to a 3 right away, they actually can't interact with it in their main deck. Cycle to start. This could reasonably be something we cast this game. And then this is, I wanted to cycle before I played my land in case we drew a land like this. So we drew a blue source here, which means I want to play this as red. I have all my colors. Second Fox sounds great. Feels like a Bone Crusher Giant. So I think my plan here is to attack for 3 and just have them take it. And then we'll Flourishing Fox. Because if I don't blink first, they don't have an opportunity to stomp this other Fox. I'm giving up damage on this Fox here, but I'm playing around the Bone Crusher Giant. Okay, my opponent does not appear to understand how my cards work. Or they're just hoping that we don't have it. I guess that's fair too. They could understand how my cards work and just are hoping we don't have it. We do in fact have it, opponent. Step on this. Yeah, good night. Well, I mentioned my opponent doesn't have Graveyard Hate. My opponent actually has 2 Scavenging Ooze in their main deck, which can be quite annoying. This is a Shredded Sails in and a Shatter the Sky in. Boon, Wish Giver out. My Memory Leak out. This card's actually... I know we haven't cast it yet today, but this card could actually swing games that you're winning or losing in the aggressive matchup for sure. I don't think this is a Redcap Melee matchup. They do have Goldspan Dragon, and they have Brushfire Elemental. Maybe it is a Redcap Melee matchup. I don't know. I hate boarding in too many cards that don't cycle, and like 3 Shatter the Skies is already a lot. I'm going to bring in 1 Redcap Melee. I don't think I ever want to see 2 of this card, but the first one could get us. The first one could, like, blow them out in a spot where Cleave is otherwise lethal, and then we can kill them on the backswing. Tapped lands kind of suck, but the rest of this is fine. Shredded Sails is nice. Shatter and Shredded Sails are both really good. No turn 1 play sounds great for us. And then we're not going to play out into a stomp. Excuse, that's annoying. So I want to prioritize cycling non-creatures to start. We are going to cycle here, because I do need to try and hit a land drop next turn. Huh? Really don't want to make the skews bigger, but I also really needed a land drop. Pretty unfortunate here, not finding a land in... What, we took 5 draws this game? Opponent missing the activation on taking our other cycling card here, not using their mana. Definitely a mistake. Probably not going to matter, because we've stumbled. With noting. Sometimes you play Magic, other times Magic plays you. We had a very good hand in the first game, so, you know, sometimes you run them over, other times you keep your 2-lander and draw 8 cards and never find a second land. I guess they haven't done a whole lot here either, other than the skews. We're gonna go, like, land Dragon this turn, probably. And, like, maybe if their hand is bad, we can get back in this with Shatter the Sky and like Drannith Healer to heal back up. But we're taking 8, 9, possibly 10 here if they use the treasure. And like they know we're playing Shatter the Sky because deck lists are heads up. So, like, they should assume that that's coming in out of the sideboard, so I don't feel bad showing them that here. This is a ladder match. I probably would concede and not shatter, but if we hit the untapped land, we're definitely shattering next turn. And if we don't hit the untapped land, we'll concede, because we're dead. Good chance we're still dead here anyways. Like... They have 6 spells in hand here. I guess I could theoretically have a land. There's 2 cycling cards in my bin. It's the motto, chat. Never not dead to cleave. I'm trying to hit land here. We hit the untapped land, we get to hold up Shredded Sails, then we're not dead to cleave, which is nice. He's dead, Jim. You killed him. Okay. They flood a little bit here. We could play a game. Yeah, I'm supposed to cycle this end of turn there. Yeah, that's probably supposed to be the case. Had another draw to land this turn if I had cycled that last turn. Okay, I mean, a Zenith Flare. Depends on how many haste monsters they draw from here. They have 2 Questing Beasts and 3 Ghostbane Dragons in their deck. Get the stomp. Didn't get stomped. Glass half full. We do this and pass. I did give them the opportunity to draw Stomp this turn. I think that's the correct choice. Given everything we have here. All right, that's a Fox. So we get to go Fox into Healer, into Cycle Frostveil Ambush, into Hold Up Shredded Sails for the Cleave. And we've got Lurrus in exile here as well. Or Lurrus in our companion zone, I guess I should say. Alright, we're gonna close this out relatively quickly. Can kill a dragon too in a pinch. Get another token here. It's a little unfortunate. I cycle this to start. I think that's the play. See what we get. We do this and just pass back. It's gonna make our stuff attack this turn. I'll spend some mana equipping Cleave and we'll shred it. And probably cycle Fox, honestly. We can replay the Fox from the bin with Lurrus. And Chrome War do they have in their 75? Just 2. Could have Soul Seer in their deck against me too. Deal 5 for 3. I throw this away to gain some life. Sure. Some cyclers into another laser would be great here too. Okay. So if I so I have to attack. This says I have to attack. These are dead. I have 8 mana total here. Am I Lurrusing this turn? Or do I want to hold up Shred the Cleave plus Zenith Flare? I think I want to hold up Shred plus Flare, right? I'm getting back the 3/3 Fox as well, right? Because this is gonna go away. I could die if they have another cleave. Right? I think I pass here. Because if they have second cleave in hand, I can die. And like I don't want to leave myself dead when they're dead to Zenith Flare. Another Zenith Flare off the top, sorry. We go ahead and block. And then we shred the cleave. You're trying to 7 us with the mammoth. I think that's fine. Kill this. Okay, so the question now becomes, am I sending Flare upstairs or not? I think the answer is yes. I think we just say bonk and hope to draw another one. I want to keep a land in my hand to loot through with, if I draw. What's it called at this point as well? Improbable Alliance. I think we want to kill that one. That's pretty good. Alright, so we need something live here. Definitely don't want to hold on to 2 lands. Alright, so they got a few draws that kill us here. And then we have a redraw next turn. It's unfortunate. Do we really only have... Oh, we had 2 flares, right? We had to play a flare defensively earlier. Alright, we take game 3 on the plate. We did bring in the Soul Seers, it's good to know. I think I'm happy with how we boarded. I think I'm actually going to trim the Redcap on the play. Bring in an extra cycler. Needed to find an Alliance there sooner, or a third Flare, obviously. We're 34 cards into our deck, so not that unlucky. About average there, seeing 2 Flares and 34 cards. That was pretty good. That was the game where I missed a bunch of land drops early too, right? Like that was the game where they played Scavenging Ooze on 2, and then I didn't play a third land after seeing like 7 extra cards, and that like game like ended up actually playing out as a game, which is pretty impressive. That seems fine. Not amazing, but fine. I think it's in the range of keepable. want to gain life or not? I think so. I think I lead on Drannith here as bait for a removal spell. I'd rather Drannith die than Fox, I think. Well, they do have deal 5s in post board, so Fox getting past 3 is no longer, or getting past 2 is no longer a guarantee it survives. Could also be right to just like Fox and cycle this turn because it gives us a better chance to draw a land next turn. I'm okay with trading this here for 2 of these. And I am going to go ahead and cycle this, just in case they have a red source and a stomp. I don't want them to kill my Fox if I can avoid it. This attack might be wrong. Now they get to attack back with the beast. I guess we could get cleaved this turn. Wouldn't be good for us. Cleave would not be good. The 2 flares in hand, if they don't have a Scavenging Ooze soon, we're in a good spot. Okay. Not getting cleaved and not getting Scavenging Ooze, both of those seem good for us. Ideally, I'd like to keep this Go for Blood, but if we miss on the 1 mana cycler, we're definitely cycling it. I don't need a second blue ever. Third white could be useful. I think this is Improbable Alliance and then attack. Even if they go like land cleave next turn, I like get some chump blocks in and then Zenith Flares can pull me out of it, I think. Get on our extra points of damage here, get our blocker. Okay, yep, well, we know what we're doing for the next couple of turns. I don't think I can die this turn. Famous last words. I guess if they go land dragon, do I die? No, because I get to block 2 5/5s, and then 1 would deal 11, 15, 16, 17 to me, and then I have flares from there on out. So we just need to put 1 cycling card in the bin next turn. Okay. Oh, actually, they're just dead in the air, right? They just take 1 and then they take 9. Got him. Okay. Blue-red flash, it looks like. This is not a matchup I've played. Oh, okay, so that's interesting. So it's blue-red flash, but they're on Gadwick, and they're not playing any copies of Bone Crusher Giant Maid. They have Bone Crusher in the board. 0 Bone Crusher in the 75. They have Weathered Runestone as graveyard hate, but they don't have any graveyard hate that actually exiles my graveyard. Their deck is chock full of counter spells, though. So Zenith Flare is not the freebie in this matchup that is in the late game in a lot of other matchups because of their hard counters. We have 4 Borrower, 4 Goldspan Dragon, 3 Gadwick here, it looks like. Opponent is checked in, just waiting for them to challenge here. It's probably another one where it's a really good one to win the die roll. This is another matchup where Alliance is probably one of our better cards. Worth noting, my opponent only has 2 copies of Saw It Coming, and they're on 4 Behold the Multiverse, so on average their foretell cards are not going to be counterspells. They're leaning into 4 Opt, I assume, to trigger Gadwick consistently. They've got 2 main deck Negate and 2 Saw It Comings as ways to counterspell. Something that's actually really notable here is they have a main deck copy of Cinderclasm. They've got 2 more sideboard copies of Cinderclasm. That effect is really strong against us. Cleans up all of our sweepers, all of our stuff. Something neat to note about their mana base, though, is they're only on 1 creature land here. Which is great. Alright, so we've won 1 die roll in 6 rounds. 7 rounds? This is round 7, right? Yeah, 1 die roll in 7 rounds. Pretty easy mulligan here. Great poker hand, mediocre otherwise. Do you think a memory leak in the shuffler is to blame for this hand? Shuffler. The shuffler's as rigged as the earth is flat, chat. Opponent also, it's not, I think the opponent also mulliganed there. And it didn't come right back to us, so I assume they're deciding if they want to go to 5. Obviously, we're going to 5. We're supposed to lead on this, actually, in case we have the opportunity to play... an Improbable Alliance on 2. Because, like, if I cycle, I could technically draw Alliance plus a blue or red source. If I would have played, like, this on blue on 1, I could have hit, like, red source... I put this on red, could hit blue source Alliance. And I wasn't paying attention to what they did with their opt. It doesn't matter. It's annoying, though, that there's not a game log. Okay, sweet. And that's a blue source, so we get to go ahead and play this on red. Get to go ahead and play the Rescuer out. Valiant Rescuer, normally very good against these controlling decks, but again, remember my opponent has 1 copy of Cinderclasm main deck that can clean him up nicely. Plasm is a 2-mana instant that does 1 damage to each creature. They can kick it for 1 to deal 2 to everything instead. The kicker is not super relevant here, but the other one is. Sweet. Okay, so, I mean... we definitely aren't, like, post-board, I think I would play Drannith Stinger here, but game 1, I'm definitely not playing around with Cinderclasm. This is going to die anyways. Going to Frostbite? Yeah, that's okay. I was going to say, even if they didn't kill this, I'm definitely playing Rescuer, and then cycling right away. I assume the way they're pausing here, they're going to kill this Rescuer. And Frostbite numero dos. Feels like it. It's unfortunate. Neither of those are the Improbable Alliance I wanted for Christmas. I think I'd rather keep Grizzly Bear than the Ambush here. Definitely want a 4th land at this point, I think. Again, my opponent's on 4 Behold and only 2 Saw It Coming, so statistically, even though they've played a Glimpse, this is probably still a draw spell. Even if it is a counterspell, getting something like a Saw It Coming used on a Valiant Rescuer would be fine for us, because that's one of their four counterspells that tag Zenith Flare game 1. Bandragon's very scary. Stuff card to race. Improbable Alliance helps a lot. Seeing it though. I think for the sake of resource efficiency, I'm going to cycle the Rescuer here. We already have plenty of colors here, right? Really matter. Is the yeah, there's no reason. This is a Behold like it's likely to be, since they didn't counter this. There's no reason for them to Behold right away. This is still worth 2 mana next turn. Gadwick being a payoff for Goldspan making you lots of mana is pretty neat out of the opponent's deck. So, Shark Typhoon's another good payoff for them having lots of mana. I have 4 of those, obviously. Yeah, it's a lot of cards. Our Mystic Disputes post-board are going to be stellar here, obviously. Probably game. I suppose if they don't draw counter spells and we like pop off a Zenith Flare, we could be okay, but feels like with the number of cards they have that we're in garbage time here, even with my chump blockers. Seems like a tough matchup. They have cheap removal and sweepers to clean up my Go Wide Dorkos, and they have counter spells to deal with my Zenith Flares. Especially with the Cinderclasms, I feel like we've got to be behind here. Some of the other builds of cycling were playing the full 4 copies of Mystic Dispute. I wonder if that could be correct. If you think this matchup is hard, that seems like a really good answer to this, huh? Definitely doesn't seem unreasonable. I go to 9 here. I'll attack them with a bunch next turn, I think. The Gadwick tapping our blockers. The opponent doesn't actually have burn spells in their deck, right? I guess they get to make extra shark tokens with the Shark Typhoon, so I can't even attack him. That's actually kind of funny. I imagine this is getting scattered or saw it coming. They are 20 cards into their deck. They haven't played either of those cards yet. I can't click into their exile to see what their Behold card was. I don't think it mattered. So Negate and Mystic Dispute both seem great here. Drannith Healer seems mediocre. It's like a bad threat that dies, and I don't really want to gain miscellaneous points of life, I don't think. So these cards could all be useful. It's a Redcap Melee matchup. I feel like the answer is no. It kills Dragon, I guess. I don't love bringing in... Maybe I bring in like a pair on the draw. I think I just want to be as proactive as possible. We're on the play here. And then Negates and Disputes are already a little bit reactive, but they're going to help us force our things through, which is nice. I think I definitely would bring in all 4 Disputes if I had them here. The opponent's sideboard plan here, like I mentioned, involves 2 more Cinderclasm. We'll probably see the Scorching Dragonfires come in out of them as well. Maybe another Essence Scatter. I don't know. At the very least, they're bringing in 2 more Clasms and a couple of Dragonfires to supplement the removal that they already have. We might see them board down on counterspells. Maybe like the Essence Scatters come out in favor of things that play to the board. I feel like I mentioned, they can't afford to really cut Negates and Saw Comings, otherwise they expose themselves to dying to our Bing Bongs. Or flares. Sure. Keeping a hand with a proactive threat in this matchup doesn't really accomplish anything because they're so likely to kill it. So I think we just like keep a hand that like has some colors of mana and gets to get our cycling going to get the Zenith Flare set up down the line. So they have 6 pieces of spot removal and 3 sweepers to tag this post board. The fact that like they have Cinderveil encourages me to kind of just like play this out anyways, because like even on the chance that they don't have the spot removal right away, they're going to be able to 1-for-1 to clean it up later. And if they don't have their thing in the short term, I can potentially like they tap out to kill this here, and then like I get to draw a what's it called? Another threat to deploy this turn, potentially. Blue source? Nailed it. Alright, this is a good start for our hero here. This is a 1 of Maze Mind Tome out of the sideboard for the opponent, so I assume they just bring this in against anything aggressive. That makes sense. They chose not to activate it, so not activating Maze Mind Tome there says to me that they think they want to draw 4 cards with that as opposed to scrying. I guess it could also just say like they're happy with lands or spells. Like maybe they have like 1 more land in hand and then plenty of spells. I don't really know what they're looking for just yet. So if I don't cycle here, it tells my opponent that I have the Negate. And, like, if they want to sweep these up, I just, like, play the other Valiant Rescuer, and it's, like, not a big deal. So, like, do you Cinder? Startling Development's actually a playable card. It can turn something into a 4/4, which is nice. Yep. I think it's worth holding up Negate there. Maybe that's wrong. Huh? I think I want a Fox here. Jet. You just draw this and pass. Do you have a piece of red spot right here? This is dealing 3. I think I'm gonna fight over my Fox for the sake of using my mana here. It's like makes them have another removal spell, which is nice. Alright, down to 13. Getting Fox supercharged up isn't even all that great in this matchup anyways. Yeah, because of Brazen Borrower. It's kinda whatever. You know, it could have been right to cycle the Triome there at end of turn, and then I could cycle the Fox on their turn to make another one. I didn't think about that. I think that was probably the play. They have another Cinderclasm here. Obviously, our boy's dead. Excuse me? I mean, okay. Seems fine for me, right? Cycle that now. We could cycle another one next turn, potentially. This is obviously bad against Cinderclasm getting kicked, but they've already played one copy of that. They have 3 post boards, so obviously they could have another, but I have Valiant Rescuer plus more cycles in hand, so if they have that, then like maybe the third Rescuer is going to get to push through. Expecting Lurrus to die here, but Lurrus got to draw at least one thing from the bin, so it got its 2-for-1 value being our 8th card in our opener. Opponent's getting low enough that depending on how they utilize their mana, we could Bing Bong them with a couple of Zenith Flares next turn potentially. They do have a gain 4 in the tank here they can just activate. So they don't have any counter spells available then, right? Are they dead? If I do this, I can cycle twice. Yeah, okay, so we do this. Well, I guess that technically makes my Zenith Flare smaller, huh? Seems fine, though. So they're taking 6. Yeah, they're dead. Okay, sweet. Oh, they're not quite dead because of Tome, right? They're at 16. So this play means they're still pretty behind on board, and this forces them to not draw a card with this. So I think this is still the play. If I hadn't... I missed lethal here. If I hadn't replayed the Fox, I would have had Fox in my graveyard, and I would have had one more mana to cycle another card. So if I lose this game, I deserve it. I think there's a chance that we're going to win in spite of myself with our wide board plus a development plus a Zenith Flare in hand, especially with the memory leak too. But I definitely had lethal that turn and I didn't stop to count it. I should have counted before playing the Flourishing Fox. Just one blue up as mana meant they didn't have anything that could interact with me. They had like opt and that's it. And that doesn't interact. Yeah, the Behold here should mean they're dead. They need a Cinderclasm, and even then, like, the Leak plus Flare plus a Fox attacking should be enough to get it done. Messed up, but wasn't punished. You have to be on the draw for game 3. Ooh, what if I played Shredded Sails? Yeah, I should have brought that in, right? Shredded Sails kills Borrower and Dragon, and it cycles still. Yeah, that definitely should have been in my deck. I could see some people are playing 3 copies of this card. I could see that being okay. I don't know. I don't know that we needed these Redcap Melees to beat the red deck that we played against, so it's very possible that, like, especially being at 3 of them is too many. Split the difference here. The discard spell is definitely worth keeping in here against their deck full of counter spells. Shredded Sails, it doesn't cycle for 1, but, like, it's good enough. Like, the fact that it's a playable spell on the front side means that it's worth that awkwardness, like the Valiant. We counted earlier that we're 80% to hit with these hands, right? Is this hand good if we hit? Yeah, I think so. My opponent doesn't have ways to interact with our graveyard and it's got a Zenith Flare guaranteed. So we get 3 more draws at our second land tier. I get a cycle, a draw, step, a cycle. It could be that the payoff on this hand isn't enough to take the, 20% risk that we brick. Definitely see that being the case. It could be. I think the fact that, like, maybe I didn't, and, I wanted one of these in my opener for it to be worth the risk. We found it now, obviously, but we also bricked, so, like, I think Startling Development is actually better than Go for Blood in this matchup. This can save our things from burn spells in a pinch. I think we could miss for 1 turn here. I think missing for 2 is almost assuredly a death sentence. They double bottom. Maybe they don't have a 4th land. They had a lot of looks, though. We also had a lot of looks. Maybe they won't draw any counterspells this game, and we will kill them with just a big Zenith Flare. Or maybe we'll hit lands from here on out, and we'll be able to Zenith Flare plus negate. They didn't glimpse or whatever there with their 2 mana, so I'm assuming that's a counterspell, which is not good for the home team. It's another non-blue source. Okay. 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 Their hand could be all removal, I suppose. I think there's a good chance their hand is all removal. I'm gonna cycle this. It's over here so you can see it. Okay. Okay. What a weird game. Is Greg top? Is this the dragon finally? If they dragon here, I can technically flare them with Negate up next turn. So in response to this trigger, oh, how does this work? Fuck. Doesn't lose any of its abilities when it becomes a serpent. All right. This works how I want it to work. All right. I literally just pulled up Startling Development on the Gatherer so I could see if this was going to lose flying when I made it a serpent. If they have Brazen Borrower here, I feel like they might have deployed it earlier. They could have Borrower. If they don't have Brazen Borrower, none of their other removal spells work on this. So it's a 4/4. Well, I guess they could have double Frostbite. They'd have double Frostbite off the Goldspan mana, right? When you get double Frostbite, and we did say their hand's probably a bunch of removal, right? Okay. Okay, so the game plan from here is to bonk them with this and then set ourselves up to bink bonk them through with the negate down the line, I think is the play. And I think I want to play this turn, right? Rather than bink bonk for 1 more damage. So 14U. Obviously, they could set up, you know, a bunch of counterspells here, but their deck doesn't actually have that many counterspells in it. That being said, they're going to get to look at a lot of cards, so. Drawing a bunch of cyclers here is also great, because we have this 2 Improbable Alliance. That being said, we screwed early, so we could be due to flood here. We've only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lands in 34 cards, or 26 cards. That's about average. 7 and 26. A little under. We have 19 lands in our deck. 2 of the lands in our deck still cycle, which is good. If we can trigger Alliance on our turn and their turn, I think we're going to be in a pretty decent spot. Potent debating if they want to jam here or not, it looks like. Missing on a cycler here feels real bad. That could be the game losing miss there. Brick there at the end. Is this not a Saw It coming? Is this a draw 2? This negate is reserved for counterspell and counterspell alone. I think I'm supposed to block proactively with the 1/1s because they're on Cinderclasm. Cinderclasm could clear out my blockers when I'm depending on them later. So I think I'm supposed to like get in early and often preventing damage with them. You guys want to like keep my life total high so I can try and go long to find my counter spells and my Zenith Flares. We've had one flare in 28 cards. I know there's some incentive to like try and attack with them, but I think that's pretty unlikely. I just want to like block early, block often here. If we brick on a Cycler next turn, I get to activate Improbable Alliance and draw discard for 6 mana this loot. So it'll be the first time doing that today. All right, there's a bing bong. I mean, it doesn't get better, right? Like the longer we wait, we don't get better. So I think we're just upkeeping this, right? I think we just like land pass, like Zenith Flare you, hope you don't have. If they go to draw with Maze Mind Tome at end of turn, we'll do it then. There could be merit to waiting one more turn here, because they could have Mystic Dispute in against me. And if they have Mystic Dispute in against me, I could Dispute, Negate, Flare through Mystic Dispute next turn. Like right now, Dispute's live as a second counter spell. Do you have Negate? Another Saw coming? They have one more Saw coming and 2 Negates, so. The fact that we missed on Cyclers, yeah, fuck. They brought in Mystic Dispute. Yep. Okay. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to lead with the Alliance there to play our Mystic. I didn't think about it until I had passed the turn. What a crazy game. This is, for people that are just joining us, I did not play a second land till turn 3 or 4. I think I played my second land on turn 4 this game, if I recall. Is that lethal? That looks lethal, right? Not quite, they're 1 short. Yeah, and again, like, I would have more time to draw out of this if we had drawn more Cyclers in the middle. Span Dragon, good game, opponent. Really close game. Really close game, considering the fact that, like, considering I didn't play a second land for as long as it did. Really close. So we're actually playing against one of my buddies that I used to travel to play stuff with a little bit. I was from the Bloomington area for a little while. I was down here for school. Will Kruger, I think he's out of the Chicago area. And he's got another really good Gruul build. So similar to the one we saw earlier, 4 Cleave, 4 Gold Span Dragon, none of that stupid, none of the stupid Great Henge stuff that doesn't actually kill your opponent. All right, yeah, this must be a list that's going around because he is also on the Island Negate in the sideboard. 2 Klothys in his sideboard and 2 Scavenging Ooze in the main deck for Graveyard Hate out of him. Hopefully we can win another die roll here. It would be great if our 2 die roll wins in this match, in this tournament, were against Gruul. This is a place where it really counts. Nope. 1 and 7 in die rolls so far. Guess we bottom that one. Two Acronin War in the main deck here for Will. Is a notable. They pass with Bone Crusher up. We're going to double cycle. If they play something out or play a tapped land, we're going to play the Drannith Stinger, I think. Definitely playing this on blue. Next turn, we could go for blood to kill Brushfire potentially if they don't step on the Stinger. It's like he's getting stepped on. Alright, that's a Fox. And Will's build, similar to the last one that we played, does not have a way to take a 3/3 Fox off the table with direct removal game 1. Deal 3s in the sideboard. You got 2 Soul Seers and 2 Fire Prophecies post board, but just stomps game 1. Huh? Yeah, I'm gonna say no blocks here, unfortunately. We're gonna be dead to land cleave next turn, but you know, when aren't you dead to land cleave? Welcome to standard. Played a land for the turn, so I guess we're just passing here. Okay, so not getting cleaved. Glass half full. Oh, they're just pushing damage. It's like, am I missing something here? They're just pushing damage. Did do a lot here. Okay. Okay, so Shredded Sails in, Shatter in, 2 Memory Leaks out, 3 Boons out, easy peasy. I don't know if that one would have been much different on the draw. Or on the play as opposed to the draw. I guess they wouldn't have been able to brush fire and stomp my 2/2 in the same turn, so they would have had to choose between stunting our development and progressing their own board, which probably would have given us more time to wiggle into a few more card draws. Maybe find a bink bonk and flare them out. Man, what even is a keepable 7, right? This hand is not good. If I put up mulligan too. Also on 6 at least. Gonna step on my Drannith Healer. They have Stomp here. Okay. It's good for the home team. I guess I go Stinger, play land, attack. I want to play that on white because I did board in my sweepers. Okay. No land is great for us, obviously. Let's see where we end up at. I think it's just this. It could honestly be right to just cycle it out from here, though. They miss out on another land drop. We should be in the clear. If they hit their untapped land this turn, we're gonna need to. Okay. Alright, and there's the final Bink Bonk Frontier. Ha! If we had to make our thing a 4/4 card here, it would savage them. Yeah, I think they're just supposed to double block. They should look at our deck list and see like we have exactly Redcap Melee. We're gonna cycle the Triome here in response to get an extra point of damage, and I think. I guess waiting to cycle it means that I get an extra Valiant Rescuer token. Yeah, I think I'd rather have a token. They are solidly getting magic to this game. This is where that happens. And then them killing the Rescuer means even if they block the 2/2, they die. Hey, on to game 3. Not much of a game there, but those happen. We've had plenty of stumbles ourselves here. Our deck, one of the things that's actually really nice about this deck that we're playing is like, while we have had some stumbles, like we've played real games basically every time we've stumbled, and like the fact that this deck draws so many cards, you basically have a bunch of 1-mana cantrips. Our deck tends to be pretty consistent, which is nice. Maybe I want some copies of Redcap on the draw. Maybe. Alright, keepable 7 this time through, huh? All you can ask for. Good 7 around the draw here after losing the die roll. Sure. They have 2 copies of Wilt on their board. I don't know if they necessarily come in here against us. Am I cycling proactively to get Flare started? Yeah, probably. So let's do this into this, and then next turn we can go... Well, I guess this exposes me to Stomp, technically, right? I guess it puts a blocker out to make them think about something. I guess if they're missing the land and they have the Stomp, this is worse. Yeah, I think this was wrong, and I should have played this turn. It looks like it doesn't matter, but... my body is ready to get Ember Cleave next turn. If we can dodge Cleave... we need to dodge Cleave and Questing Beast here, basically. A lot of cards, though. Wow, that's huge. We block everything here. We're gonna get cleaved and take 11 down to 4. And then even if we sweep, we die to Questing Beast. And tap points first. We're dead. We were one off. Yeah, I don't know if there's much we can do about this game. My one decision I made that kind of mattered ended up not mattering. I don't think I'm supposed to hold up shredded sails on 3. I don't know if that's a winning line. Maybe they don't have a land. Maybe they don't have a land in a Questing Beast. Like, there's just like so much that kills us here. Yeah, that's sad. Good games, opponent. And then, unfortunately, we're gonna double check. I assume my tiebreakers are still dog shit. They were dog shit going into this, into earlier. Yes, I have the almost worst possible 6 and 2 tiebreakers, so we'll definitely not make the single limb rounds. I get to play the last one. So for the last round, if I win, I get $50 worth of gems and an invite to the qualifier weekend next weekend. It's a sad, sad run after starting 6-0, but you know, I'll take. All right, looks like Sultai, you're in for the last one, huh? Once more onto the breach. Four Heartless Act, 3 Shadow's Verdict, 1 Extinction Event, 2 Negate in the main, 4 Jawari Disruption's a good one to note. To eliminate a lot of cheap cards in their deck. Doesn't look like they're playing 2 Elspeth's Nightmare. 2 Nightmares. It's like, all right, let's do it. Can we win our second die roll of the tournament in round 9, chat? Therein lies the question. Got 3 Valkies in their deck, notably. Opponent goes first. Yes, they do. Yes, that's how this game works. Opponent goes first. Mulligan an unkeepable 7. This hand's fine. Not amazing, but fine. Actor. Way makes sense. I think I'm just passing here and cycling rather than playing a Grizzly Bear. I think I want to try and hit my Improbable Alliance mana next turn. Actually, let's cycle these. So if we draw a black source instead of a blue source, we might actually just be casting Memory Leak here, like that. It's actually our first time having color issues today, which isn't too terrible. A second piece of spot removal here. See, sure. Opponent has 2 main deck negates. Doesn't look like any main deck strokes. Only 2 ways to counter our super duper missiles, or ping pongs. Got him. So blue source plus 1 to 2 mana cycler are ideal draws here. Guess we might be drawing Lurrus this turn. It's like a... So we can, like, Lurrus, play Fox, cycle Development next turn. The opponent has a fast ultimatum this game. We're going to be in a lot of trouble. Cultivate's pretty good. This is the key to the fast ultimatum. Oh, you know, I should probably cycle this at, matter. I should probably cycle this on my turn to play around Heartless Act on this. They're picking back up Eliminate here, though. Okay, I mean, we can dodge a Flare for a little bit. We can dodge, or if we can dodge an Ultimatum for a little bit, we can dodge a ball. Okay. They only have 2 copies of Negate. Hopefully they just draw... They draw their dark here, yep. Thumbs up. Both top. Yikes. I only have 1 red mana. That's super awkward. This could have been red. No. This could have been red. Oh. It's important to remember when you're playing this deck that Tibalt ultimating exiles your graveyard, which makes your Zenith Flares do nothing, so you need to make sure that doesn't happen. Ideally, we don't see Time Walk, Tibalt, Vornclicks here. So these are fine. Because Valky doesn't ult for a couple of turns. So we throw this down underneath, and if they don't have land negate here, they're dead.
And away you go.
I like to put a stop on my upkeep to let them know I didn't draw it, that I had it and we set this up. Bink bonk, bink bonk, nuclear launch detected. Bink bonk, bink bonk. So, negate, dispute, roiling vortex in. I think I cut the 4 with the Gopher Blood last time. It seems reasonable. Sometimes you definitely want the discard spell in this matchup, and sometimes you get to the point where you draw 4 on this. My opponent sideboarding in. My opponent has something that's super important to note here. Is 1, my opponent has no additional graveyard hate past their 2 copies of main deck Elspeth's Nightmare. 2nd is that they have no additional hard counter spells out of their sideboard. So they have 3 Mystic Dispute and 4 Duress. And they could bring in a mix of those cards. Duress is actually quite awkward against our deck because we draw so many cards on average. Like, Duressing me 1 turn and like what my hand is on turn 1 versus turn 3 tends to be very different with how much we draw. But Mystic Dispute's fine. Mystic Dispute could definitely make me wait to do the thing should they be representing it. You can put me off it for a little bit. Yeah. All of our colors, a piece of disruption, a way to kill them, and a fox on 1. Actually, just the Stone Cold Perfects. I assume this is going to die. Like, they know how important having removal spells in this matchup. There could be merit because they're only on 2 eliminates to waiting to play that out. I don't think I negate Cultivate here. I think we want to save this to fight over their counter spells. They're just doing nothing. That's great. Huh? I think I need a second blue here. I don't think I want to, like, play a 2-mana enchantment and then have them untap and, like, Binding of the Old Gods me. That doesn't sound like a very good play. Drop Alliance here to start. See what they do. I feel like getting a Negate used on that is really good for us. They don't, like I said, they only have 2 copies of Negate in their 70 in their 95. 75, they're 95. Really need 3rd red. And I'd like to be able to cast a discard spell should we draw it. With a flavor text on Roiling Vortex here, that middle paragraph says every time a player casts a spell, if they didn't pay mana, they take 5. This is very good against the opponent's archetype. Means if they want to emerge an ultimatum, they have to take 10. Am I supposed to play that here? I'm probably just supposed to draw. That's kind of nice. Is it though? Or I just want to keep drawing cards. I'm just gonna keep drawing cards actually. Try and keep this over on the right for you so you can always see it. I guess they could ultimatum me next turn if I don't hold the gate up. Like it would kind of be nice to draw Lurrus here. I can't pass to them going to 7 mana and then do it. It's a little sad that they're gonna be able to Yorion next turn, and then I like kind of am under pressure to do something. Yeah, so opponent is not going to let us play the long game here. We're gonna use our Vortex to pressure us. Which is smart. They're playing this well. This is a defensive Bink Bonk. I think if the Yorion were actually Bink Bonking the Yorion. Passing, deal. They have a second Shark Typhoon here. That would be very bad for me. I'm like prepped to play a long game, and this is not. Yeah, I don't get to play a long game against this. This is super unfortunate, but this draw's lining up really well into ours. This explains like this. So the negate on the Alliance felt really weird at a glance, but based on the context of my opponent's hands here, it actually seems like it was really good, right? But it played this well. To fight over this 1/1 here now too, so there's a good chance we die next turn. It's possible I was too greedy and I should have fired off this Zenith Flare for yeah, I think I should have fired off the Zenith Flare for 7 or whatever it was at the end of their last turn. I passed back with 4 mana to myself. Not using my mana there was a pretty big mistake, I think. Alright, bottoms up is a good sign for us, I think. Hopefully their hand is like a bunch of emergent ultimatums, removal spells. Killing my Lurrus instead of my token. Deal. So I think I need to spike a 2-mana cycler or a 1-mana cycler here, and make a 1/1. Ideally, So if I do 10 here, I need to be able to block next turn still, right? I'm going to 13 and they're attacking for 11. Oh, this is fine. So we do this, we bonk them, we go to 13, they go to 6, and then if we draw another bonk, we can kill them next turn. The way this game played out, their Negate on our Improbable Alliance on turn 3 or whatever was just like so good for them. Our counter spells here looking real awkward in the face of going on. So I'm technically not dead next turn if Improbable Alliance draws me into a cycling card. I can block these 2 and then take 3 and then go to 1. It's kind of an outside shot here. I only have 8 mana, so if I do that, I can't also negate something, so we are dead to a removal spell here. We're not dead to that, though. Okay, so I mean, if we find another Bink Bonk, they're dead. Got a couple of draws here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. So I can loot with this too, so we get 2 more draws next turn at a minimum. Bing bonk, bing bonk. We got our invite to the qualifier weekend, yay! We did it, we did it, we did it, hooray! I can't believe we pulled that one out. This deck's super impressive. Well, it's a little sad to have a strong run end the way it ended, where we went 6-0 into 7-2 and then miss on breakers, but all right, so that was sweet. If you didn't catch all the matches today, I think today did an excellent job highlighting why I love this current standard format. This current standard format is the best Magic standard format since War of the Spark was printed. War of the Spark's printing definitely was where Magic standard format took downturn for me personally. I've just loved this current one so much. As far as this deck goes, I think this deck is excellent. I think people are probably going to start prepping a little bit more sideboard hate for Zenith Flare after this weekend. In addition to my 7-2 finish here, there was another player who was 7-1 going into this last round, Renegade Egg. They are a sub here. And their breakers were good, where even if they lose the last round, I bet they'll top 12 on tiebreakers. As far as changes go, I definitely want a 4th Probable Alliance. I think you probably trim the Boon of the Wishgiver. I was super happy with the rest of this main deck. One thing this deck is playing that a lot of other people aren't for some reason is put Drannith Healer in your deck. Like, it cycles for 1, and this card is so much better than most of the other cycles for 1 cards. Like, what am I confident on? All of these cards. All of these cards should be 4-ups. Things I'm confident on. These cards should be 4-ups. These slots here, these five slots, these slots are like whatever your most favorite other cycling cards are. Honestly, considerations, I've seen other people doing super cheeky things like playing Mystic Dispute main deck. I think that's really bad. I could see just main decking copies of Shredded Sails, though. Like, I could see, like, you just, like, cut the boons and, like, put 2 Shredded Sails main, and then, like, that frees up some sideboard slots overall. So that, but things like that. One other thing I'm confident on is I like my mana base a lot. I spent a lot of time last night looking at a ton of different mana bases from different people that have been playing this archetype, and good lord are some people playing some atrocious mana bases. So this mana base is 13 white, 12 red, 12 blue, and then it has 4 black as kind of 4 free on the back of these lands that would otherwise be basic, so you can occasionally cast Memory Leak. So yeah, I'm happy. I think you want to play 19 lands. Some people are greedy to only play 18 lands. I think 19 lands with 3 triumphs is good. I think this breakdown on the color pips that our manas make are good, and these cards are all great. You should be playing 4 of these cards. At any rate,